Dozens of Indigenous leaders have gathered in Sydney in support of the Voice to Parliament as both sides ramp up their efforts in the final week of the campaign. The latest Newspoll shows support for the proposal has slipped. Julia Bradley is in Redfern for us. Julia, what was the pitch today?
Well, Tom, the focus for the Yes campaign for the Indigenous Voice to Parliament as we enter this final week of the campaign has really been to emphasise the support that the proposal has among Indigenous communities. This, of course, on the back of what the No camp has been saying, suggesting that their internal polling shows that support for the voice isn't as high among Indigenous Australians. Now, today, a group of about 50 Indigenous leaders turned out here to Redfern in Sydney's inner west. It's the spiritual, cultural home of Sydney's Aboriginal civil rights movement. And here we heard from the co-chair of the Yes campaign as she spoke about the support that it does have among Indigenous Australians.
230 years we've been waiting for recognition in this country. This is our moment, Australia. Sincerely, listen to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who overwhelmingly, more than 80%, support this modest proposal from Redfern to Alice Springs to Arnhem Land.
Indigenous leaders like Shane Phillips spoke about how far this community has come from a history which involved protests and riots here in Redfern, speaking about how hard the community has worked from the ground up.
We had to rebuild ourselves. This is the block. The block was infamous. We were part of the problem as a community. We all had to take responsibility for it. What we did do, we didn't wait for the government to fix us. We decided to fix ourselves.
Now, this event comes as a new poll suggests that support for the proposal is slipping. This, according to the latest Newspoll published by The Australian. It surveyed over 1,000 people nationally between the 3rd of October and the 6th. It shows that 34% of people support the Voice, down 2% in the past fortnight, while the no vote has risen 58% to 58%. 8% of people remain undecided. Other recent polls have put the two sides marginally closer together as we enter this final week, but the No camp still leading according to those recent published polls. The Prime Minister remains optimistic that that can change ahead of that referendum on Saturday. The Yes camp dismissive of polls, saying they remain hopeful.
One said we're going up and the other one said we're going down. It sort of makes the head spin. The most important thing is Australians are voting right now. We're not interested in the published polls. Australians are voting right now, and we're out in force, our 50,000 volunteers across the country.
Now, as we know, some well-known faces throughout the course of this campaign have identified with either the Yes or the No side, showing what they believe or illustrating what they believe, whether there should be a voice to Parliament or not. The latest person to show their support for the proposal is former Prime Minister Paul Keating, who of course worked on native title. In this final week, we're expecting the Yes camp to continue that focus, emphasising the support that this has among Indigenous members of the community. The No camp, however, focusing its efforts on battleground states such as South Australia and Tasmania.